All right, well, if you're listening to this, welcome back to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Football. Sorry again, guys. It's almost going on 3 weeks since we last recorded, and I texted Logan last night. I was like, let's record in the morning. Even by time you guys listen to this, week 3 is already underway because they're playing in London right now, the Falcons and Jets. So I was just watching that game, and we're past Thursday Night Football. So I guess it's already 2 games in, and by the time you guys listen to this, it'll probably be week 3 over. So hopefully we'll have a new episode coming out in a few days. We'll just try to jump and do it this week so we can try to get on our weekly schedule again. But how you doing, Logan?
I'm good. Again, guys, sorry. I've actually been testing to get on a fire department and all that, and I've been going through that process, and it's a lengthy process. So I just been busy, and then we say this every time we talk. So, but hopefully we can get back to schedule, like Kyle said, and get all that going.
Yeah. So a lot has really happened since we last talked. Trying to think. Oh, Justin Fields got announced to be the Chicago starting QB, which that was a really weird scenario because they came out like 2 days earlier and said it when Andy Dalton's healthy, he's going to be our starting quarterback. And then 2 days later, they're like, JK, Justin Fields is our starting quarterback. So what was your thoughts on that?
I mean, he had his first start didn't go very well, but his second start wasn't bad. Granted, he didn't have a touchdown, I don't think, on his first start or on his second start. But they were moving the ball down the field. That offense looked good, and they came out with a win. So I think they made the right move. So hopefully he just keeps playing like he is.
Yeah. So speaking of quarterbacks, man, there's been a lot of quarterbacks been injured the last week or so, or 2 weeks or whatever. And the craziest part is, so obviously the Texans, they drafted David Mills in the 3rd round or something this year because, with the Watson stuff. But Tyrod Taylor got hurt, so Mills has been playing. And he did so bad in his last game. The real question is, why hasn't the Texans called Cam Newton?
I don't know. Maybe everyone's thinking Cam's done. Maybe Cam's washed. Again, maybe they see something we don't.
I don't know. I know Cam Newton can be a distraction on and off the field, but man, the Texans have no one right now with Watson, not playing right now because of all that stuff. Tyrod's hurt. David Mills is not looking very good right now. I mean, you might as well just call Cam and be like, hey, you want to come start for a few weeks? Try to get your what is it? What's the word I'm trying to look for? Try to get his people to see more film on him, see if anyone wants to take a chance on him. But yeah, I don't know. The Texans are definitely a mess. But there was this video of, speaking of another quarterback, there was this video of they were talking about Tom Brady, and they talked about the last 10 years of Tom Brady's career was better than his first 10 years in the NFL.
Wow.
And that's when 5 of those years being in his 40s right now or whatever. So, man, that is kind of crazy. Tom Brady is the GOAT. And, we only got a few more years, if that, with him. So you better try to watch every game you can.
And, a lot of people hate Tom Brady, but the guy is phenomenal. He's such a good quarterback.
I talked about this a couple podcasts ago. I used to hate Tom Brady because I just hated how he would always win. And the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've just grown to realize, man, he's just good. He's the greatest of all time. And
I need watching greatness, guys.
Yeah, exactly. We may never see another quarterback play at the level that Tom Brady has played.
People are saying Pat Mahomes is going to be that good. I would love to see Pat Mahomes try to win 7 Super Bowls. That's going to be rough. And then go to a team that was awful and then turn around and take them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But jumping into another quarterback news, Sam Darnold has won more games in 1 year with the Panthers than he did in all his years with the Jets.
We're getting ready to talk about Sam Darnold's looking good this year. So here's the real question. Is he just having a good year, or was Adam Gase the problem?
I don't know, but I know Shannon Sharp tweeted, this was 9/23/21, was like, it's amazing how different Darnold looks with coaching and blocking and talent around him. And that's really what it is. Like, I mean, the Panthers are being coached by a really good coach, and it's amazing what he's done in the 2 years that he's been there. And they go out and get people. They traded for Gilmore. I mean, they'll go get anyone that can improve their team.
Oh, yeah, speaking of that, were you surprised that the Patriots got rid of they were talking about releasing Stephon Gilmore, but then traded Stephon Gilmore to the Panthers for a 5th-round pick?
I think that was crazy because they were getting ready. Like, they hadn't filled out the paperwork just to release him. Like, they didn't want anything more to do with him. And I don't know what all the reasoning why, but
rumor is because they couldn't work on reconstructing his contract.
Oh, really?
That's what rumor has it.
But yeah, so I mean, good for them. Hopefully Gilmore comes off that his injury and hopefully performs well because he's playing for his next contract. So, hopefully.
If I'm not mistaken, too, good for the Panthers because the cornerback they just drafted, J.C. Horn, I think he's injured, isn't he? I know he got carted off the field during a game, but I don't know if he's injured.
That might be why I think he did get hurt this past game, so that's probably why. But again, Gilmore's not coming back for 2 more weeks or whatever. So,
but also the Panthers went out and traded for Jaguars cornerback C.J. Henderson.
I forgot about.
First-round pick last year.
Yes, first-round pick last year. I heard, Urban Meyer right now is a mess. I don't know if you heard about or saw about the thing last Saturday where he was apparently at a bar dancing and flirting with a bunch of girls or whatever, which I kind of thought that was a little overblown. But more I thought about it is like, man, you're an NFL head coach. Like, why are you getting caught in that situation? So I don't know. He didn't fly back with his team, and it's sounding more and more that everyone there thinks he's a joke right now, and the owner even came out and said he has to regain our trust, which when you lose faith and trust into a coach, you usually fire the guy. But they just hired this guy, and they think, I mean, Urban Meyer, everywhere he's gone, he's won. So they're still, I understand, like, I wouldn't give up on them just yet. But it's gonna be hard to gain that trust back from the locker room, because now, and it was a good point someone else was making on a podcast. It's like right now, Urban Meyer, like, if they had a bye week or whatever, he couldn't even look his team in the eyes and say, "Don't get in trouble," because, I mean, obviously you see what he just did. So, like, he's lost all trust and like.
And wasn't Urban Meyer the one too that sent out a text with a racial slur? Wasn't it?
No, I think you're thinking the email with John Gruden.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
So that just came out like a day or two ago.
Yeah, he was making fun of someone's lip size or something like that, which that's not right.
Yeah.
People can't control that. Don't be like that.
Yeah, it's a shame because I do really like John Gruden, but I'm sure he made a mistake, but he's got to own up to those consequences. So we'll see how that goes.
But you're always being monitored. Don't be like that.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone's listening, like everyone's a human being. It doesn't matter what they look like. So like you never know what a person's gone through. Like if you saw me on the street and walked by me, I mean you don't know what I've gone through. If you walked by me, I wouldn't know what you've gone through. So like just
And also,
respect.
first off, don't make fun of people. I mean, we're all like I said, we're all human. Don't make fun of people for stuff they can't control.
Yeah. So going back to it was funny you said, is it Sam Darnold or was it Adam Gase problem? And the funny thing is I just found this meme that I sent you on Twitter. It said Marshall's high school's first year without Adam Gase, they win a state title. LSU's first year without Adam Gase, they win a national championship. Peyton Manning's first year without Adam Gase wins Super Bowl. Ryan Tannehill's first year without Adam Gase, comeback player of the year. Sam Darnold's first year without Adam Gase. At the time that this meme was made, he was 3-0.
Yeah, and they only lost one game so far.
Yeah. So, hey, speaking of only losing a game, how about my Cardinals being 4-0?
Yeah, that team's looking good. Kyler Murray is looking like the front MVP runner. Looking really, and the thing is he's, you have DeAndre Hopkins, but it's not just DeAndre Hopkins doing everything. You got Christian Kirk doing some stuff, Chase Edmonds, James Conner,
At AJ Green.
AJ
I mean,
Green.
they're all. I mean, that offense
He's sharing the ball with everyone.
Yeah, that offense is really fire right now.
It is looking good. But back to records, how about the Chiefs being the last in their division?
I'm very kind of surprised about that.
But can they turn around? Because they did just sign Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon got reinstated again.
I did see that, and I was about to say that, and my only I want Josh Gordon to do good because he's a good player, but how many weeks do we give it before he's gone again?
Yeah, I don't know. But can they bounce back? I mean, the Raiders are looking good. The Broncos are looking good, but Teddy Bridgewater is out.
Well, he's supposed to be a game time decision, but by the time anyone listens to this, he may have played, he may have not played. So we'll see what that happens. I'm hoping Drew Lock does well if he does start today, but yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is hurt. That's why I started off the podcast by saying, man, so many QBs are getting hurt. I mean, Tua's out. Russell Wilson just got hurt this past Thursday Night Football. And
they say Russell Wilson's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, and Tua, I don't know how long Tua's going to be out for.
Yeah. But speaking of Justin Fields, going back to him, man, his last game he got sacked 9 times, man.
Yeah.
Chicago needs linemen, man. That is bad.
Another fun fact, though, this week all rookie QBs are starting. All first-round rookie QBs are starting.
Yeah, I saw that, man. That's gonna be fun to watch. I'm interested to see how Trey Lance does.
So, little prediction time. Kyle, who do you think out of all the QBs, first-round QBs, who's gonna have the best week this week?
Oh man, I have to. I'm gonna go with Mac Jones. I think he plays. I forgot who he plays, but I think he plays Dolphins maybe again. I don't know if they play so soon again or.
But Mac Jones did almost beat the Buccaneers last week too.
Yeah, that was. Speaking of that game, man, that was like the most watched game. I'm trying to find the tweet.
Mac Jones plays the Texans.
Oh, they play. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, they do play.
Trevor Lawrence plays the Titans.
Yeah.
Justin Fields plays the 49ers, and Trey Lance plays the Cardinals. And Zach Wilson plays the Falcons, and they are down 17-3 right now.
Yeah, but
I have to agree with you on Mac Jones. I also think, though, I think Trey Lance comes out and beats the Cardinals. I think that's the Cardinals' first loss. Hot take.
I could see it because the last few years we have struggled so much with rookie quarterbacks or just backup starting. Like, last year we literally lost our season to like the second or third string quarterback for the 49ers last year.
And Zach Wilson right now is 5 completions, 13 attempts for 42 yards, and
I think I still do think Zach Wilson's going to be a good QB, but man, his team this year is not very good. And again, I can't sit here and say I've watched every game, so I can't say 100% that that's why it's all on his team. Because I'm sure, again, with any rookie quarterback, I'm sure it's he's probably making some mistakes. So, but going back to the Patriots, who did the Patriots sign and played last Sunday?
oh goodness,
You
who did
remember?
this? I don't remember.
Richard Sherman is back.
The Patriots? No, 49.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, he signed with the
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. Yeah.
Buccaneers, yes. Yeah. Could you imagine that team in like 2015 and 16?
Yeah, that team would have been crazy.
Speaking of the Buccaneers, though, rumor has it his career with the 49ers.
Well, no. So I think you're misunderstanding. When he became a free agent 2 years ago, the 49ers was where he wanted to play. He called Wes Welker, was like, I want to play, because he was a fan of the 49ers growing up. He's like, I want to end my career with the 49ers. And after the 49ers watched film, they decided that he was not better than Jimmy G. And then forward to now, they ended up drafting Jimmy G's replacement in Trey Lance.
And the Buccaneers wanted to go after Stephon Gilmore, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure if the Patriots would have if they would have filled out the paperwork and released Stephon Gilmore, I think there's a ton of teams that would have been on him. I think the Bills would have called. I'm sure the Chiefs might have called. Arizona would have been on the phone. The Titans would have been on the phone. I mean, there's a lot of teams that need cornerback help. And when they found out Gilmore was going to get released, and good for the Panthers, they called right away and were like, we'll give you a 5th or 6th round pick. And the Patriots were like, okay. And they took it and they ran with it. So,
speaking of cornerback trouble, the Packers just play superstar corner Jair Alexander on IR. He's dealing with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The Packers were that's another team that would have called Gilmore, I think.
Stephon Gilmore wanted to go to the Packers.
I don't know if he wanted to. It was one of the Packers players reached out to him and was like, yo, call him. And he never got a call.
They did get a player in Jaylon Smith. The Cowboys released Jaylon Smith, and the Packers picked him up.
Yeah, speaking of that I think we talked about Jaylon Smith getting released last time, and then bam, he got picked up. So hopefully he does well for the Packers now. But speaking of another NFC North team, the Chicago Bears have signed a purchase agreement for the Arlington Park location. So it looks like they'll be building a new stadium. So what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, you can never go wrong with a new stadium.
Yeah.
They've had that stadium for, I'm pretty sure, for several. So it's time for an upgrade. So good for them.
Yeah. But in other news, LeSean McCoy signed a one-day contract and retired as an Eagle. So what was your thoughts on that?
That just shows we're getting old. LeSean McCoy was a fun back to watch back in the day.
Yeah, he was, man. And if you had him on man, he was a cheat code and a half. Yeah, not only could he run the ball, he could receive the ball. I mean,
he's what made receiving running backs a thing. He's one of the very few.
So a little fun question we have is, if you got to choose your QB for the next decade, this was before Thursday Night Football's game 2 weeks ago, would you pick Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow?
I got to go Joe Burrow, man. like you guys listen to the podcast. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust, and it's showing right now. He's not looking good. Granted, he is for the Jags, but he's still not looking good. Joe Burrow is looking really good.
Going back to that again, you got to realize it is the Jags. His team's not very good. He's got a first-year head coach that can't seem to focus on football right now. So, and his team thinks he's a joke. It's a mess. But I agree with you. I'd go Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow, in his 2 years or less than a year because he was hurt last year, he's looked really good. He's got good weapons. So
yeah, Jamar Chase coming out of nowhere still.
Yeah, him and they got T. Higgins, former Clemson wide receiver. But speaking of Clemson, I just want to throw that real quick. Man, they're not even ranked this year. They've lost 2 games. DJ Ugalele, or however you say his name, I said that wrong. But, man, he has looked bad, B-A-D. And it's so weird because in his 2 starts or 1 start he got last year when Trevor Lawrence was still there and Trevor was hurt, or he had COVID or whatever, DJ looks so good. But, man, this year he can barely complete a pass. After his, second loss, he was caught. There was video on the field. He went back out to the field after the game, and he was just practicing throws with the ball boy. So he's putting the work in because he knows how bad he is. And Clemson's not even ranked. And I know you don't watch much college football, but there is no – speaking of the number – because I was watching that game because it was really close, fourth quarter. It was like a tie game or Bama. In the middle of the night, says was down, and I'm like, what? And Texas A&M had a last second field goal to win the game, which is
that was
crazy.
So back to your question about the whole Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. If you could pick one non-quarterback player to start your franchise, who are you picking?
Oh man, that's hard. I haven't even thought about that. I can't even think of who are the young players around. Non-quarterback.
Non-quarterback.
It's hard because I want to say I want to go lineman because the line is so important. If you don't have a good line, your running back can't do anything. Your quarterback can't do anything. Your receivers aren't going to get receptions if you don't have a good line. So I feel like I should go line. So I would have to go, if we're going rookie, are we going rookie or young?
You can pick any non-quarterback player in the league. Anybody.
I'd probably have to go Quenton Nelson. I mean, you gotta go one of the best linemen you can get.
And he's young.
Still pretty young.
He's gonna have it for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mine, and you guys can tweet us what you would do. Non-quarterback player you'd pick. We'd love to hear it. Mine, as much as I hate to say it, I would have to go Jair Alexander, man. You got a young star cornerback in there. Cornerback's pretty important too.
Yeah.
But like you said, too, the line, you got to work the line. Now, if he was younger, I'd pick Aaron Donald in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's in his 30s, so you're not going to have him for, 10 years.
That's the same thing you could say about either Chandler Jones or J.J. Watt. I mean, they're both over 30. You only have them for maybe another good 5 years at best. Yeah. And after that, they just become another role player. But so the NFL announced that Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary Blige, I think, will perform at this year's Super Bowl halftime show. I think it'll be interesting. The only one I like out of that group is Eminem. So yeah. I don't know with the Snoop Dogg songs or all the other people. I don't know if I'll really like the songs, but I'm sure I'll watch it, of course, because I'll watch the Super Bowl this year. But so, what was your thoughts on that?
I'm excited to see it. I think it won't be bad at all.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. So, let's see. Just going through the tweets.
To our next topic. Our next topic is we got a couple players on IR. Romeo Aquara, I think that's how you say it. He's a linebacker for the Lions. Is out with a torn Achilles and will miss the rest of the season.
Oh yeah.
Blake Martinez, for linebacker for the Giants, is out for the rest of the season with a torn Achilles too, or he tore his ACL. And then Taron Armstead is out for several weeks.
It's you hate to see injuries, especially to guys that this is their living. They're making money, supporting their family, doing the thing that they love, and they get hurt, and you never know how someone will bounce back from it.
Yeah, it's sad to see. But it's also sad to see people released. Like Jamie Collins was just released from the Lions, and Anthony Miller was released from the Texans. He was a rising star in Chicago, went to the Texans, and just couldn't do much.
Well, he got traded there, and then they
Yes.
released him after like 4 games, which is, I guess he must have not looked very good. I didn't really think Anthony Miller was all that good.
He had flashes of looking good.
Well, he has flashes because he had to play in Chicago because they didn't have receivers.
Yeah.
So I finally real quick, I finally found the tweet about the Sunday night football game, Bucs and Patriots. It drew 28.5 million viewers on all platforms, making it the most watched Sunday night football game since 2012 and the second most watched all time.
Wow.
So that was crazy. I was one of them. Well, I mean, I wasn't watching on cable TV. I was watching on stream. But they said all platforms, so I was. It's kind of fun when I see stuff like that. It's like, wow, I was one of those people.
Yeah, it is cool to think about. Good news, Ravens fans. We have activated running back Le'Veon Bell from the practice squad onto the roster. He did play a little bit last week. I think he had like 2 carries for like 6 yards or something. Nothing great.
And it's interesting because they did use all 3 running backs last week.
They did.
Freeman, Murray, and Bell, but it's looking like Murray is gonna get majority of the snaps.
But to the Ravens last week, they didn't run the ball very much. A lot of people are upset with the Ravens though that they won the game, 3 seconds left on the clock. They ran to get the record for most consecutive 100-yard games. What are your thoughts on that, Kyle?
I know the Broncos were mad about it because and I see both sides of it, but at the same time, like when you're that close, it's funny. All these people are mad, but you can't tell me, for everyone that's listening, you haven't been on Madden with 2 seconds left and throw a Hail Mary because you want to get another touchdown.
Yeah, it's
like what'd you say?
It's not like they were sitting there trying to get another touchdown. They were trying to run for 4 yards.
Yeah.
Is it kind of, is it crappy? Yeah, but it's not like they were throwing it, Hail Mary pass, get another touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I get the other side of it because, like, someone could have got hurt on that play. But again, if you don't want them to gain the 4 yards, then stop them. So, and maybe that's the young side of me that's saying that. Because it's funny because it came down to a situation. So my last game, I coached for baseball this fall for my middle school baseball team. We played some small school, private school. And so I started my 8th grader. That was one of my 8th graders. He's my best pitcher. He got his last start as a middle school baseball player. And he had a perfect game going into the last inning with 2 outs. And my assistant coach that was helping me, it was one of the grandpas of one of the players, one of the 8th graders. And the reason we played this team is because a lot of their players play with a lot of the 8th graders on my team. And they wanted to, play for one last time, And the kid told the guy that he was on bunt with 2 outs with a perfect game going. No one, my pitcher hasn't let anyone on. So of course, when he tells me that, I'm like, oh my god, that's like those are one of those unwritten rules. And the thing is, like, I don't really like the unwritten rules personally because I'm a younger person. But as a coach in that situation, I was like, man, you can't with a perfect game, like you can't just bunt it to try to get on to break up the perfect game. Like you gotta beat that. You gotta beat the perfect game by getting a base hit. So like I ran out to the field, I talked to my team, and I told him I was like, apparently this kid might bunt, and he ended up showing bunt first pitch, but he pulled it back. And then he didn't bunt. He ended up flying out. It was funny because I told my team this was a few weeks ago. Uh, two of my players, the younger brother of the player was coughing at school. So the nurse freaking sent him and my starting second baseman home. And I didn't find out until like an hour before game time that I literally had to change my lineup. And I put this kid at second base that night. And the first 2 outs of the game were hit straight to him. And so I told my team after the game, I was like, the funny thing is when a player plays a position they haven't played. So, for example, when I put my kid at second base, he hadn't practiced or played second base all year. He was one of my outfielders. He also played a little first base. But I thought he gave me my best chance of having the best defensive player at second base because I hit a couple kids some ground balls, and he ended up winning the job before the game. And I told him, I was like, when you put a new player at a position, they always get the ball hit to them in baseball. And it was funny because the last out, so I put one of my backup outfielders into the game because we had like a 10-0 lead. And I know we had a perfect game, but at the same time, we were up 10-0. I wanted to get guys in. And the last out, that last pop fly went straight to the kid. And I got so nervous because I was like, because I had my starting left fielder on the bench. And I was like, if this kid doesn't catch the ball, because I had my best left fielder on the bench behind me. And of course, he probably would have got mad about it. The team would have been mad about it. And the funny thing is the kid like falls down and he makes the catch. And he like went to his knees and caught the ball, but he made the play and we ended up getting a perfect game. So it was awesome to see that. So that was my little tangent about unwritten rules, and I kind of forgot what we were talking about. That led me to that.
The Ravens running to get that.
Oh yeah, the Ravens running the ball. So I get both sides of it, but I'm glad they got the record or tied the record and can hopefully break it this week.
Yeah. On to other news. We're gonna go to the Jets really quick. So the Jets signed D lineman John Franklin Myers to a 4-year, $55 million contract.
I actually saw that they were talking about it on the Jets Falcons game just a little bit ago. I saw it come across the screen, and I was like, I don't remember seeing that on social media. And I was like, oh, and that's probably something else I need to send Logan. But yeah, I don't know much about him, so I'm sure if they locked him up like they did, I'm sure he's a good player for them. So they're locking up a piece.
Star safety Marcus May faces DUI charges.
Man, this is going back to like the Urban Meyer situation, but like, man, I get like they're humans and they make mistakes, but man, if you drink, just don't drive home. Yeah, unless you've waited long enough and drank enough water and that you're actually fine, which still then whether you should drive home is, could be debated. But just call an Uber, call a friend, call a family member, do some, because not only are you putting your life at risk, you're putting anyone else's lives that are in your car with you, the lives of the other people on the road, and just a simple man, anything can happen.
The dude's a multi-millionaire and he couldn't call an Uber.
Exactly.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But changing to a different news, this was 5 days ago. Tyler Heinicke led another game-winning drive versus Atlanta with his sister and brother-in-law in attendance. So they let the QB. So after, so they let him. So this is a little story. They let him sleep on their couch after he played in the XFL less than 2 years ago, and he says they kept him going, and now. And Heinicke teared up while he was talking about this because it's how much it meant to him for them to be in attendance. And it's crazy because after his game last year in the playoffs where he almost beat the Buccaneers, who ended up winning the Super Bowl, he got a nice little contract. I don't remember the figures. Wasn't it like 2 year, $10 million or something?
It was something like that. It wasn't massive, but it was a decent one.
And it's crazy to think 2 years ago he was sleeping on some other family member's couch, and now he's making money. So, man, that's an awesome story for him. And again, I don't know if he's a starting quarterback going long term, but man, it's a great story. And I'm sure if he keeps playing the way he is, I'm sure he's going to keep a backup job in Washington or maybe somewhere else. I don't know where his career is going to take him, but it's a nice story.
Yeah, and the dude works.
Yeah,
he works hard.
But going to another topic of the Washington football team, some bad news. So we were on the good news with Tyler Heinicke. The bad news is federal law enforcement raided the Washington football team's facility last week with head trainer Ryan Vermillion placed on leave due to an ongoing criminal investigation that is unrelated to the team. Man, that is a mess. I know it's unrelated to the team, but it still looks bad. That your facility's getting raided, your head trainer.
Yeah, not cool. Not cool. I mean, you are, the face. No matter what, even if you're, just a trainer's assistant, you are still associated with that organization, and you gotta be professional with that.
It's funny, you saying that. That's kind of what I told my players, before the season started, and then they got in trouble for some, almost halfway through, or 3/4 of the season, way through the season, and I told them before the season, I was like, guys, I want you to realize not only are you representing me, you're representing yourself, you're representing your family, you're representing the school, you're representing the community. So I told them, if they did get in trouble for something, I would make them run, before season start, because I want them to realize that they're representing everyone around them, not just themselves. So
and if they look bad, it makes everyone look bad.
Exactly. So going into some other news, just some small little tweets I would like to talk about. Justin Herbert now has 6 games with 3 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, tied for the most by any QB in NFL history in his first 2 seasons. And speaking of the first 2 seasons, he hasn't even played through his second season fully, and he's only played in 19 games, which is kind of crazy because, man, he has looked good.
He's looking very good. The Chargers are very scary this year.
Yeah, and it was funny because going back to them talking about him, Brett Coleman, who he does another podcast, he tweeted and was like, look at Sam Darnold right now and tell me that situation and landing spot aren't the primary factors in success for a young quarterback. Going to a competent organization isn't quite 100% of what makes or breaks these guys, but clearly is a huge, huge chunk of it. And then he tweeted about some situations. I mean, Oregon's Herbert versus Chargers Herbert. When you were watching Herbert in college, you were like, man, he's not going to be anything good. And he goes to the Chargers, and, man, he's like one of the best young quarterbacks right now. And going next situation was Kitchens. So Freddie Kitchens, Baker Mayfield versus Stefanski's Mayfield. I mean, Baker Mayfield was like a totally different quarterback with Stefanski. Miami's Allen versus Buffalo's Allen. Josh Allen we're talking about. I mean, Josh Allen had a good arm in college, but he didn't have a good team around him, didn't have good coaching. And now he's, again, one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. And then the last situation was Goff with and without McVay. I mean, with McVay, Goff looks like a good quarterback, or at least a decent quarterback. But without him, he looks like not very good, So,
I can agree with that.
and then Tom Brady broke the record in Foxborough last Sunday for most passing yards. That's just
Yet
man.
he passed Drew Brees while Drew Brees was in this. While Drew Brees was
At the
analyzing the
game.
game, and Drew Brees was excited for him.
Well, yeah,
Drew
I mean,
Brees,
Drew Brees knew he was going to break it. He was only like 60 yards away from it, so it was guaranteed. It's fitting that he broke it against the Patriots and Sunday Night Football, man. But another thing is going back to my Arizona Cardinals, they're the only undefeated team left in the NFL. And, after today, by the time you guys listen to this, I don't know if that will still be the case. I'm hoping it is. But, again, it's funny because I think Arizona is very good this year. But as a fan, I'm always still skeptical. I just anything can happen, especially with I like Cliff Kingsbury, but at times his play calling really isn't the best, and I'm sure you can say that about any coach. So again, I don't know what will happen, but going back to it, they lead the league in points scored, 140, and have the NFL's number one ranked offense with 440.5 yards per game.
yeah, dude, Kyler Murray's looking very good.
Yeah, man, he is good. I really want to get a Kyler Murray jersey, and I should just go buy one because my only thing is I wanted to wait until he gets locked up first because I didn't want to get his jersey and then whether they decide not to resign him or they couldn't come to an agreement or whatever, which I don't think will be the case because I think the Cardinals know they have to lock him up. So I think they'll end up locking him up. So I might as well just go buy one. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. I'm wanting to buy that. I want to get a Sam Laporta jersey. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I literally have it like in my websites on my Internet Explorer on my phone. I just need to like click buy and get it ordered, whatever. It's just a matter of doing it. So I really need to get me a Kyler Murray jersey. The part that really sucks about NFL football, because for MLB, I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan, and I buy this MLB TV, which is through the MLB website, and it's like $100, $110 or whatever, 120, whatever, something like that, and I get every single game except when they're playing the Cardinals. So when they play the Cardinals, it gets blacked out. So I watch it on the Cardinals website or not website, but their whatever Bally Sports, whatever it is now, the regional network channel website, whatever. Um, but the NFL doesn't have something like that. It's mostly with DirecTV, where you can get the Sunday night ticket and you watch any game. But every other, because I've looked into other streaming options, and I just haven't found a good. There's not a other than the DirecTV thing, which the thing is I don't have DirecTV because I have streaming services, so I don't have cable TV. I have one of my roommates from college. I have that, and I use other people's DirecTV information. So I'm able to like stream on website, like apps and websites. So like that's how I can watch Sunday Night Football and NFL Network, and so Thursday Night Football, ESPN, Monday Night Football. So that's how I watch all that stuff. But I haven't been able to find a good streaming because I know before going into the season, I know we talked about last year wanting to get a good streaming service so we could like watch more NFL games or watch our teams play. But I haven't been able to find a good source. I have looked into a little bit about YouTube TV because I know someone I worked with at McKendree, they had YouTube TV, and I'm guessing they had the sports package, and they could watch any sports game. Like he would pull up the Patriots game or whatever. So I thought about doing that, but again, YouTube TV just to have it's kind of like a cable service, but again, it's streaming. But you get the channels, you have unlimited recording space, but that's still like it's like $50, and that's before you buy the sports package. So and that's per
That's
month.
ridiculous.
So I've been trying to find a good service, but I haven't been able to find some that I could watch. So like this year I haven't watched any Arizona games. I've been watching the YouTube. They've been posting a video. They post videos of the highlights of every game. So I've been watching I've been trying to watch the Cardinals every week in their little 10, 15-minute video of everything that happened in the game on both teams. So, but man, I really wish I could watch my Arizona Cardinals. I've been waiting for them to play on Thursday night, Sunday night, or Monday Night Football, which I think is coming up. I think they have 2 primetime games. I think they play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football, and then they play someone else on Thursday Night Football. Or
Speaking of the Cardinals, how do you feel about them kind of stomping the Rams?
That's so like going into, I think we talked about it a few weeks ago when we last recorded. I said, week 3, we played the Jaguars. I was like, yeah, I feel like we'll win that game. Then I was like, man, I don't know about week 4. The Rams are looking really good. They beat the Buccaneers. I mean, the Rams are looking like the best team in the NFL. And then Arizona just controlled, I think they were down a little bit at the beginning of the game, but I mean, Kyler Murray and that offense just ran away with that game.
Yes, they did.
And it makes me like, man, maybe they are actually a very good team. But again, I guess we'll see what happens. But I was stoked. And that leads me into, like, I was nervous going into the Rams because I think we played the Rams, 49ers, maybe the Seahawks. And so we have a good stretch of games, or I don't know if it's the Seahawks. We play some other good teams. Like, we're getting into our stretch where we play a lot of good teams in a lot of straight weeks. So I was a little nervous going into it because, again, like last year, Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals, they started 6-3 and then ended up 8-8. So Cliff Kingsbury always starts the season off well. And I mean, that's the history of him even in college. And so it makes me a little nervous that we're 4-0, but you just got to take it week by week. Hopefully the team doesn't get too high on themselves and they just keep focusing on each week's opponents. I would love to see Kyler Murray take us to the playoffs and, does amazing in the playoffs. But again, like last year, it's hoping that Kyler Murray stays healthy. Because if Murray doesn't stay healthy, again, we do have a lot of good weapons. And I like Colt McCoy. But again, Colt McCoy is no Kyler Murray. So, if Murray gets hurt, our team's going to go downhill. So,
yeah, I can agree with that.
So, just hoping he stays healthy. So, got any last thoughts? I know it's close to 10:30. So
I do not. Right now, the Falcons are up 20-9. The Jets are just now punting, so it could turn into a game.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Like we said, we will try to shoot to record in the next couple of days. So again, we're not really expecting this podcast to get a lot of views, especially because it'll be past news by the time we get to, which we really didn't. I guess we really didn't talk about anything that you couldn't be relevant to talk about because we didn't give our picks for the games. Really, we're just talked about news and everything that's going on in the NFL for the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Well, Kyle, you have a wonderful day. And guys, thank you again for listening. It's always a pleasure.
You too. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for listening.